His comments won't ease tensions in the US.
Not at all. It's going to be a very fraught week in the lead up to inauguration, and certainly we can expect some more tension in the lead up to this impeachment trial because it looks all but certain to go ahead at this point. The first thing that will happen in Congress is going to be this vote on the motion put forward by the Democrats that Vice President Mike Pence enact the 25th Amendment, which would say that Donald Trump is incapable of fulfilling his duties as president. Now, that would have to be passed unanimously, so that seems unlikely to happen at this point. Many GOP lawmakers saying they're not going to support that. So then it will move on to a vote on impeachment on Wednesday. That again seems likely to pass, and it would go to the Senate, which is when the trial would happen and become much more fraught politically. But Donald Trump didn't seem too concerned about the machinations of it when he went down to Texas today. The first time we've heard from him since the riot at the Capitol building here in Washington, D.C. And it's there he said this all amounts to a witch hunt, and again went back to some of his traditional party lines about this all being from the Democrats.
We want absolutely no violence, and on the impeachment, it's really a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in the history of politics. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to continue on this path. I think it's causing tremendous danger to our country, and it's causing tremendous anger.
Now, what's going to be quite critical in this impeachment trial is going to be the language that President Donald Trump used in that rally before his supporters stormed the Capitol, because the charge would be that he incited the insurrection. And so the idea that the language he used wasn't inflaming the protesters is going to be a key to him not being prosecuted. He said that he doesn't think anything he said incited any kind of insurrection, despite, as you mentioned, him saying that he told his supporters that they needed to fight.
So if you read my speech, and many people have done it, and I've seen it both in the papers and in the media, on television, it's been analyzed, and people thought that what I said was totally appropriate. And if you look at what other people have said, politicians at a high level, about the riots during the summer, the horrible riots in Portland and Seattle and various other places, that was a real problem, what they said.
Now, there is a lot of reporting that there are a number of Republicans who are supporting the idea of a censure of the president for his behaviour last week, but don't go as far as supporting the idea of impeachment. That doesn't mean the Democrats are any less determined to make that happen. Here's Chuck Schumer.
What Trump did today, blaming others for what he caused, is a pathological technique used by the worst of dictators.
Now, the other major developing story today is this reporting from the Washington Post that the FBI actually was well aware of the threat on the Capitol ahead of the rioters storming the building last week. That's counter to what intelligence was saying before, given that they were seemingly very unprepared for all of those protesters to go up to the building and try to get inside. So that's going to be a significant issue going ahead, and certainly while they're discussing all the security implications for inauguration next week, as many as 15,000 National Guard are expected here in the Capitol to keep the city secure.